I've been a bad, bad girl. I played careless with a delicate man. And it's a sad, sad world when a girl will break a boy just because she can. Now, don't you tell me to deny it, I... I'm sorry, can I help you?
Is it future or is it past? Is it future?
No, now. I got that. What the fuck do you want?
Is it future or is it past?
You stop that. You stop that right now. Just under 2 years after their first outing, Angry Demon Studio would give us the pseudo but not really sequel to Unforgiving. I didn't know about it until its release, and thus have nothing to add about its development cycle or the time leading up to said release. Based somewhat on the poem, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong, Voliuspa, it takes us some 50 years in the future in which the sciences meddling with different realms has caused the roots of Yggdrasil to spread to Midgard, wreaking havoc on the Earth and threatening to destroy us all. Loki's taken over the facility like some sort of rotting Nordic Shodan, the dimensional merge is imminent and it's time for the Les Enfants Terribles program to once again save humanity, only this time from a plot that's less convoluted than anything dreamed up by Kojimbo. This is Apsulov, End of Gods. You are hell. Oh, nope. I'm sorry. Was that a bit of a spoiler? Well, when Loki asks who you are, I guessed it on my first time through. Partly because there's something oddly fuckable about a giant half-dead Scandinavian lady that appeals to me, and also partly because it's quite literally spelled out for you in the goddamn title screen. World's worst kept secret. If, of course, that is, it's even supposed to be a secret because, again, I knew nothing leading up to its release. So who knows? Maybe it wasn't supposed to be a secret at all. But that's enough of that huge digression. In an attempt to resurrect his own children, Loki has made a monstrous clone of Fenrir, and now using the remains of the daughter of Henrik Anderson, who is the head of Boar Corp, and his own slain daughter, he resurrects his daughter. Seems a little needlessly repetitive. Absentee father for the rest of his children, unfortunately. Regardless, the process is successful and you awaken in a lab which you escape from, make your way through the facility, and eventually end up in Helheim. From there, the horrible spiders take your arm, you become every anime protagonist who's ever lost an arm, and go on a short trip through a couple of realms and even the decrepit station, on a journey to stop the realms from merging and defeat dear old daddykins. Long is not what I would call it from the outset. You're looking somewhere in the vein of about 5 hours depending on skill level versus difficulty level, and they even challenge you to complete it in just under 2. But what I would call it from the outset is pretty much a game of a caliber I've not played in a very long time, despite a very massive issue I take with it, but we will get to that. If this setup is sounding a little, let's be polite and call it familiar, well, I can't exactly blame you. We've seen said setup and seen said play out on many occasions, but let's be fair and say it's not the destination, it's the journey that matters. So, on to the journey then. A lot of it is going to be very familiar. You crawl your way through vents, crouch in the shadows, hide from the little nasties who want to beat your brains in. At first it's very industrial, but you quickly make your way into the facility proper. You never really get any puzzles, just number-coded keys for unlocking doors. Some have said doors can be bypassed with the Yarn Graper, that's the robot arm you get. It can deliver blasts of atrium energy to bypass some door locks, activate buttons from a distance, and later change your shots to destroy enemies. You can charge the Yarn Graper at designated stations, but you can also collect little discs of energy scattered throughout the world, some coming from dispensers, to use later when there are no stations nearby. It's not deep, it's not complicated, and really it's more of a vehicle to help move the plot along than anything else. Your main enemy will be the cultists of Loki. These little fellows drank his blood when the roots first started spreading throughout Midgard, and as a result were granted immortality, but of course, not invulnerability. As such, Loki stole their fucking skin to keep them loyal, and now they wander around the facility whimpering and gibbering madly, carrying out whatever it is he wants them to. Later you encounter little trolls who, let's be real here, don't really look like anything I would consider to be trolls. What I think I remember correctly as being the ghosts of giants, spider demons, and oversized leeches just for that extra creep factor. All of which can be killed except for the cultists, of course, at first. The best you can do to them is temporarily separate their bodies from their souls. Most enemies won't ever actually kill you. Your biggest threat will of course be said cultists, but they are, for the most part, easy enough to deal with. Should you fail to properly deal with them and are instead killed, you are sent to the Ether where Loki is imprisoned. You have to complete a small task and then return back to where you died. But Loki prowls the vicinity, and if he catches you, well, he kills you? Let's go back to that whole you're his daughter thing, and he's created you for some nefarious purpose. So, like, the mechanic is creative. Give the player a chance to undo their death before progress is lost. It's short, it's simple, and it's not too time-consuming or frustrating. But it kind of breaks the narrative? Why is Loki trying to kill you? You would think that being known for scheming and, oh yeah, fucking trickery, he'd have some other prerogatives that don't involve murdering his science daughter. Either way, that's really it. It's not an RPG. The only character progression you get is increasing the amount of energy the Jangreper can store and keys for doors. It's mostly a stealth exploration game with some pretty simplistic stealth at that. Which, that's not sounding all that great, now is it? In fact, it's sounding pretty commonplace, we'll say. So what was I so optimistic about earlier that makes this game so great? Well, let me lay a scene out for you. It's my first trip to Niflheim. I exit the outpost Bohrkorp is set up, and plastered on the outside wall is a giant fuck-off logo. I enter another part of the facility, and I find myself standing in a waiting room. A waiting room, in a facility emblazoned with the corporate logo. And it clicks. These psychotic motherfuckers, in their goddamn legendary hubris, expect fucking tourists to come here. They're expecting them to see the facility from the outside as though even those native to these entirely inhospitable realms would come and visit them. Now, these are the things that usually would have just gone over my head for most games, but Apsulov isn't like most games. In fact, very few games are like it. It doesn't have much in the way of gameplay that we haven't seen a million times before, but what it has in story, it puts goddamn everything into. From the Norse trimmings on archways to the runes lacing complicated machinery and coming around even to the vending machines, the game tells far more story in its world design than it does through the audio logs spread throughout the game. There is hubris, excitement, the adoption of a culture to the point of fetishization in that oh-so-corporate manner, calamity, an ever-encroaching predator natural that can't be reconciled, and every little detail from the dress you will never get a real good look at, to the Valkyrie shields with no owners, to the empty, cold halls, the characterization of the cultist animations, tells part of the story, meaning and purpose in every single aspect of the design. Even the artistic crafting serves a purpose. Dark rooms lit only by the harsh neons of fallen vending machines, the otherworldly glows produced by Mjolnir and the atrium energy, the chilling, dead blues and omnipresent echoing snores of the frost giants. More care was spent in developing this game's world than you get in most AAA games with ludicrously higher budgets and development cycles.
And now a word from our sponsors.
One of the biggest moments that stood out to me, and one that can seriously knock you on your ass, came late in the game when you enter Hell's Temple. First off, Helheim is beautiful. The collapsing structures in the cave giving way to the open sky, revealing a world of endless night. Centered in it, a tall, golden spires of an alien temple emitting its sinister green lights, promising only eternal suffering. And you go inside. and it's empty. No great carnage from the aftermath of some long-forgotten battle. No corpses decorating the walls in what is essentially Nordic hell. No grand camera sweep landing on the corpse of hell herself. Nothing. Barely even the echo of your own footsteps. You aren't exploring these worlds in the wake of Ragnarok. The realms aren't suffering from the same tree root issues as Midgard is. Yggdrasil was here all along. Ragnarok came and went millennia ago. All that's left is emptiness. In Niflheim, all that is left are some giants, mostly sleeping. In Jotunheim, there's only the wildlife, unchecked by any higher forms of life. I'm sure if they had made Asgard, I could only imagine it being filled with rotting wooden furniture too large for any human ass, and coated in long undisturbed dust. Whatever's happening in Midgard, the other realms have already seen it. Been there, done that, a long-ass fucking time ago. It's the aftermath you're unsure of. Though, it is eventually explained to you what will happen, and if you know anything of the game's namesake, you can take a pretty good guess or two. Yes, the art direction is phenomenal, not just in how it looks, but in how it sounds and how it feels. The developers use sound to push the player forward in some very interesting ways. Take Helheim, again. As you crawl through caves that aren't exactly dark, the ambience plays the prowling noises and even some of the cries enemies emit to let you know they're about to strike. But half the time there's really nothing there threatening you. That skittering isn't an actual enemy rolling up to take you out. Those chitters and screeches aren't an actual enemy about to make you John Romero's bitch. What they're there to do is spook the player into moving. The major issue with these is they tend to accompany very long segments where nothing is threatening the player. They keep the player uneasy, and I admit a few times tricked me into making a quick dash to the other side of the room, and it wore off about 25 minutes in. You see, it's a clever trick, and it's a trick that works for a while. It's not, however, a trick that's so clever that it works for 30 fucking minutes straight in the absence of any threat when your game looks like this for massive chunks. Yeah, we're back to this problem again. It was shit when Agony did it, it's shit when you guys do it. What good is all that craftsmanship when you fill chunks of your game with darkness so impenetrable that you're just feeling your way across exterior walls? I fucking hate it. And when you have an incredibly long segment of it where I'm learning how your audio tricks work, it all tends to wear off pretty fucking quickly and just becomes tedious. Worse, it rips me screaming out of the experience. And it's a shame. It's a massive fucking shame because this is actually my only real complaint with the game. The combat, which can be mistaken for tokenistic, is designed in such a deliberate way that you never feel strong or safe no matter how much energy is in reserve, which then goes on to pay off wonderfully when you get your god power and gain the ability to just go to town on fuckers in the end game. The art direction is unnervingly otherworldly, whispering secrets of some great impending doom or higher power that you really can't even begin to fathom. Cultist body language is all too real and disturbing. You feel their ache, their shame. Environments are crafted with phenomenal care and purpose. The music fucking rocks when it shows up. I even greatly appreciated the old school save station style they chose, which helped create meta tension. And then there's these huge segments where I'm just fumbling through pitch blackness. I mean, fuck guys, stop doing this. Please. I get it. We need darkness to help offset visibility, otherwise safety creeps in naturally. You've already crafted a very tight, often claustrophobic setting that never opens up to the point that it loses that oppressive feeling. But you don't need lengthy pitch black segments. That just really fucking sucks, and it sucks more that it's just this big, well, everything except stain you have to point out when praising the game. The game is filled with fun little design choices that are a good giggle when you notice them too. For a freebie, the Corpse of Hell has a cute rotting design. You can very visibly see the dead side is now nothing but bone, while the formerly living side is in the very late stages of decomposition, possibly even suffering from some mummification. I kinda chuckled when I spotted it. It makes sense, it's obvious, but how many developers would have put that in?
What? Oh my god! Choke me! Nigga, choke me! You know I like that shit. The fuck? I can't wait for your ass to choke me. The fuck? Oh my god, choke me daddy, choke me daddy.
It's a fantastically beautiful game with a hell of a lot to see. I don't want to spoil too much, so just know that there's more awesome shit than what I've shown you, including a boss fight that makes a perfectly wonderful eldritch horror. It's not too expensive, and it makes a bit of a strange follow-up to Unforgiving, but Apsulov, End of Gods, is definitely worth the price on the tin. Woohoo! That ends the Angry Demon Saga! A good set of games, and each telling its stories pretty damn well. And with some fucking kick-ass art to boot.
Hey man, aren't you forgetting something?
I don't know what you mean.
You didn't play the first game yet.
Yes, I Yes, I did. I put the video up weeks ago.
Are you sure? I don't remember.
Yeah, of course I did. I thought I did. I swear I played Unforgiving. Yeah, I put the video up just...
We live inside a dream.
Wait. What year is it?